The Baltimore Ravens just robbed the NFL. We have a blockbuster deal which just rocked the National Football League, and we're going to give you all of those details right here, right now on Ravens Digest. Hot off the presses, welcome to the show. If you're new here, my name is Bryce Parker, and we're going to get into everything you need to know about the Baltimore Ravens. So make sure that you like, comment, but especially subscribe. You never know when you'll ever have the chance to be the first 50 subscribers to an amazing YouTube channel that is going to give you everything you need to know about your favorite football team. We're going to have analysis, highlights, game breakdowns, trade rumors, everything you need. We're going to cover it right here on Ravens Digest. So let's get it started. The man of the hour, Derrick Henry, just signed a blockbuster deal with the Baltimore Ravens. That is going to be a deal that is truly going to transcend the National Football League. You already saw last year he transcended the National Football League in the way we look at running backs and the running back position. But this deal is a statement that running backs are here to stay, and you're going to have to pay elite guys. So let's get into the details of the deal. So Derrick Henry signed a 2-year extension worth $30 million. He's going to get $15 million per year on this deal. $25 million of that is going to be guaranteed, making him the highest paid running back in NFL history over the age of 30. Derrick Henry, 31 years old. First signed with the Baltimore Ravens last season, coming over from the Tennessee Titans. You already know before we had the stigma in the NFL, especially the past I would say 10 to 15 years, where you're not paying running backs. You're not treating them as elite guys like you do in other positions. You say they're old, they get run down. When the running back turns 29, 30, he slows down. But you had 3 guys last year, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley, who essentially came from other teams, and in their first year with that new team, were able to be transcendent players, were able to elevate their teams and elevate their run game in a way that you're not seeing. They're not just going to get this from a rookie. You're not just going to get this from a high-value young guy that you trade from somebody, or a guy in your back room who has been there a couple years and he can fit into the system. No, these were 3 guys who made immense differences within their offenses. And so let's get into, at first, what Derrick Henry brought to specifically the Baltimore Ravens, starting with the 2024 season. He added power to the best running attack within the National Football League. You already have the best run blocking line. You have the best running dual threat quarterback in National Football League, hands down, with Lamar Jackson. And then you just add one of the best power backs of the generation in Derrick Henry, a guy who truly exemplifies speed, power, agility, vision. You almost have like a thunder and lightning tandem with him and Lamar Jackson. And you saw what they were able to do once Todd Monken figured out exactly what running attack he wanted. Early in the season, it was a little shaky. John Harbaugh came out in the press conference a little awkwardly, saying that this wasn't a guy we brought in to, give the ball 20, 30 carries a game. But when they finally did give him over 20 carries a game, it seemed like this team was unstoppable, and especially the run game was unstoppable for this ball club. He had over 1,900 yards. He led the league in rushing touchdowns. If it wasn't for Saquon Barkley's literally history-setting season, Derrick Henry probably would have led the league in almost every single rushing statistical category. He made a Pro Bowl again, his 5th Pro Bowl selection. And this was his 2nd best statistical season. And you got to remember, he was 30 last year. The season that he had that was his best was in 2020. And so 4 years later, he's still doing it as a running back over the age of 30, who, again, we're not paying running backs, we're not valuing running backs, but the Ravens showed that when you have valuable guys, you pay them, or you're going to pay the price when you have to play them. Y'all can clip that out. That's a bar. But yeah, you got to pay these guys. Best yards per carry that he had for his entire career at 5.9. And for those of you who might be new to football, who may not understand the statistics, you can almost get into the Hall of Fame guaranteed if you have about 3 to 3.5 yards per carry. Derrick Henry doubled that in what you can say could be the start of the later parts of his career. And especially with a new team and a new offense and a new system, and especially when you have other backs within this system who can play, who have roles within the system, and then you have, again, the best dual threat quarterback in Lamar Jackson on your team in the backfield at the same time, and you're able to have this massive production. Hey, it was an amazing thing to see. I hope some of you had to see it in person, because seeing it's like watching a masterpiece. It's beautiful. He set multiple franchise rushing records in the first season. Again, this is a new offense. This is a new system. Imagine what's gonna happen. Imagine what's gonna happen next year, the year after that, when they have when they have more chemistry together, when they have more time to scheme what is going on or what's going to happen, and how they want to play the different running backs within the system. I believe you're going to keep seeing monster years from Derrick Henry within this offense. So you're going to look at the future outlook. So what does this deal mean? Derrick Henry is going to be locked in until 2027, until he's about 33, 34 years old. You have a guaranteed 3 more seasons of a Lamar and Derrick Henry tandem, which Derrick Henry's actually potentially could have been a unrestricted free agent, which means if he had walked, we would have got nothing for him at all, no compensation, no anything, if a deal wasn't done by next summer. So you not only do you keep this dude, you keep him a year early. You already know he's locked in for the next 3 seasons, and you have the creativity to do whatever you need to do. Again, this was his first season in Todd Monken's offense. You get another year in Todd Monken's offense to have the creativity, to have the experience, to have the familiarity with this offensive unit. And then you added this guy to an offensive unit where you showed that you had one of the best run blocking lines. You add the best power back in the league, who again also has home run speed as well to it. And then the offensive line this past year, we're returning the guys we had last year, but also we're returning some depth as well. We were able to draft some very good pieces who can come in and play, who can come in and add some depth to that lineup. So I see this running game actually getting better in the next season. It's hard saying and having a prediction of a guy who had over 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns that's going to have a better season, but I can see it happening. And then as well as I expect that Isaiah likely will be the featured tight end within this offense. So when you have a red zone tandem of Lamar Jackson, who is lightning, you have Derrick Henry, who is unstoppable when he gets going and when he gets behind his pass. You have Isaiah Likely, who can be one of the best red zone threats at tight end in the National Football League, an emerging star. I believe you truly have the best red zone package within the entire National Football League. And you're starting to see these teams, not only just in the division, not only just in the conference, but in the entire league, look at the Baltimore Ravens and craft their defense around how are we going to be able to stop such a dynamic attack, not just when we play them in the regular season, but if we have to face them in the playoffs, when it's cold, when it's raining, snowing, we have to go to Baltimore. How can we stop this dynamic team? And honestly, I have no answers for them. I think this team is constructed amazingly, and then you're bringing the pieces together that's going to keep this unit together for at least another 3 years. You just opened up your championship window even wider. I was believing that maybe next year was a good window before they might have to move some pieces around and figure it out. But no, you got Derrick Henry on another deal that locks him in for another 3 years. Likely he's probably going to get another long-term contract. I believe they're going to end up moving on from Mark Andrews. You're probably going to keep Kohler. So you're going to have an offensive attack, and I know Zay Flowers is going to get a long-term deal. Now you really have shored up every single piece on offense that you're going to need to be successful, to not only compete with the Joe Burrows in your own division, but to compete with the Patrick Mahomes, to compete with the Josh Allens within their own conference, because that's where the road to the Super Bowl is going to go through. This team has Super Bowl aspirations, serious Super Bowl intention and potential. This is a great and solid move that's going to get them to that point. And also, I just think it further reevaluates the running back position. Again, you don't pay running backs. You don't pay running backs who are over 30. You don't trust in guys because they're going to slow down. Again, I would implore anyone to go look at the amount of carries that Derrick Henry had in high school. There was multiple games where he had over 50 carries in a high school game as a 16, 17-year-old. And you look at this big, massive guy like this who's running extremely fast. You're like, how is his legs so attached to his body? How is he able to get out of bed in the morning and just walk around? Like, this guy who has a lot of wear and tear on his body, but at the same time, people were saying that, these big guys, they have so much wear and tear, they're injury prone, they're this, they're that, da-da-da-da-da. You're seeing at age 30 and then at age 31 that this is a big back who just keeps on getting better. Again, his second best statistical season it's going to be something amazing to see. And throughout his career, I'll just name this. He's had 5 Pro Bowl selections. Twice he's been the rushing yards leader. 3 times he's been the rushing touchdowns leader. You have Derrick Henry on this offense to elevate this Ravens team to another level. And all this deal did was just lock in the fact that the Ravens have a real championship window, and possibly if they get it done this year, they're going to have another 2 years with Derrick Henry under contract where they can keep this unit together and actually be a real dynasty contender, the same way where we were watching to see if the Kansas City Chiefs were going to three-peat. This is highly possible that you're going to be able to see a duo of Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. Well, not duo. Well, you're going to see the mix of this core team of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. You're going to be able to see this group mesh together very well, be able to put together a unit like we saw with Ray Lewis, with Ed Reed, and those other Ravens greats. I believe that they have put the core together to lock it in to be a perennial contender for the years to come. So, again, the Ravens robbed the NFL. they actually robbed the NFL twice because it was crazy that they were able to get a talent like Derrick Henry to add to this dynamic attack where they had just went to the AFC Championship the year before, got him this year, locked him in for another couple years, and also the other moves that they were able to make to literally make this team better. Again, we had the last video where the Ravens were the team that actually did the most and did the best within their own division and honestly within their own conference, within the draft, within the offseason. This just is an extension of the offseason moves that the Baltimore Ravens were able to make that is going to, I believe, put them over the mountaintop this year and get them to the position where they can actually legitimately say that we have a true shot to beat somebody out the NFC to hoist that Vince Lombardi trophy. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, like, comment, but especially subscribe. If you like this video, smash the likes. If you didn't like the video, tell me what you didn't like about it. Help us grow, help us cater this channel to you. What do you think about this deal? Do you think Derrick Henry's worth the money? Do you think it was too much money? Do you think it wasn't enough money? Whatever you believe, this is a space for us to collaborate together. So comment on this video and let us know what you want us to talk about next video, what you want us to break down, what you want us to go more in depth about. We're here for you, and we just love people who are supporting us, and we love to talk about the Ravens. So again, thank you so much, and until next time, go Flock.